Welcome to Beyond Rockets. Hope you're having a great day. My name is Clark Dunn and I'm your host. Get ready to enjoy some awesome conversations from Huntsville locals about cool work they are doing right here in the Rocket City. You can connect with us on social media at Beyond Rockets, and if you're interested in doing a podcast yourself, I'd love to hear from you. You can visit my website, beyondrockets.com today, or connect with me on LinkedIn at Clark Dunn. Sit back and enjoy this episode of Beyond Rockets. Well, welcome to the podcast.
So, man, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. Would you like to introduce yourself and we'll kind of get started there?
Yeah, so I'm Jordan Rodriguez, founder of Freedom Exteriors here in Huntsville. Started about 4 years ago. Moved to Huntsville when I was a kid, about 10 years old from Florida. Grissom High School graduate.
Yeah. So you've seen Huntsville grow. I think you left to go to college and kind of came back. Talk a little bit about, most people when you graduate high school in Huntsville, because I think we're like a year apart in school. Most people have the idea you graduate, you move away, Huntsville's not cool, it's not fun, I'll live anywhere else but Huntsville.
Yeah.
You did that for a little bit and kind of came back. Talk a little bit about going to college and what did you end up studying and kind of that transition to come back here to Huntsville.
Yeah, so I graduated Grissom in 2016. Then I was actually took a basketball scholarship to University of Montevallo outside of Birmingham, and I was there for about 3 semesters. And then I kind of pivoted in college. I was like I said, playing basketball, and I switched over to football. So I went to a junior college in Kansas.
Okay.
Dodge City, Kansas.
A little bit from Huntsville, yeah.
Yeah, about 16 hours.
Whew.
And then was there for about 9 or 10 months, and then I went to the University of Tulsa. So I had a football scholarship there and graduated there, and then came back in 2020 during COVID.
Okay. And in 2020, when you came back, what were you doing as a career at that time?
So I finished up school online.
Okay.
Graduated in May, and then didn't really know what I was going to do. I had a degree in exercise science. Thought I was going to go like the physical therapy route, and then by the time I started actually doing shadowing and stuff, I was like, I don't know if this is for me. And so my first job was in staffing, which is fairly popular for ex-athletes, I guess, out of school. And so I did that for just a little under a year during COVID. Got married the next year, was still doing staffing, and then just kind of got burnt out of that. And I took a business development job with a government contractor here locally. Basically just sourcing Army contracts and stuff like that. And did that for a little bit and just kind of still felt like it wasn't for me. And then I took actually a position with a home improvement company, one of the higher volume ones, and took a job as a project manager. And so I thought that at that time I was really excited about that because I had been around construction a lot growing up with my parents, and they were always remodeling and building and doing all kinds of stuff. And so I was like, oh, this is great. I'll have a truck. I get to drive around job sites and I'd be sitting in
every day's a little different. Yeah.
Exactly.
All the things that you didn't enjoy of all the other jobs you had prior.
100%. Yeah, it was a lot more dynamic. So I took that position, and I was kind of exposed to the window replacement industry here in Huntsville. And so I was a project manager for a while, and then I actually transitioned over to installing.
Okay.
So I actually installed the product. I did that with my brother and a friend. So we had a little install crew, and we would do that. And then about the time my wife got pregnant with our first daughter, I was like, well, I think I need to find something like schedule-wise that is not as just crazy, because I would leave the house 6:37. I wouldn't get home till a lot of times 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. Didn't really know where I would go that day and install. So I was like, I need something that's a little bit more predictable, I should say. And so at that point I decided I'm going to start trying to just do this myself and try to do it a little bit differently. So I started selling Anderson windows, which is a window manufacturer. And so I would go out and I'd meet a homeowner and I'd measure the job.
What was this typically just door-to-door sales at the time, or were you kind of like, how did you kind of garner that one, maybe the skill set, and two, that book of business? Because it's one thing to have that infrastructure built around you with an organization like you were working with in town,
Right.
but then to actually do it yourself and get people, and no one really knows you, no one really knows what you're doing, but it's a service that they definitely need, or like you see a need for them by either driving by or through word of mouth. How did that process go at that time?
I would say it was 2 main things. So we had like the organic presence online. So from the very, very beginning, I invested in a website. We had our like Google business profile.
Already had the name and everything at that time.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So before I officially launched, I had that. And so it was primarily website or Google Business Profile. And then since we were an Anderson certified contractor at the time, we were listed on Anderson's website.
Okay.
And so people that were specifically looking for the Anderson product, they could go on the website and they could be
See, like dealers near me or like
basically
or whatever that might be.
recommended contractors. And so, but it was not a high volume at the beginning, right? I'd have to get one job, and honestly, that one job would be good for a month or two compared to what I was doing before
100%.
because I was obviously getting the product and the installation.
And how big was the team at that time?
So my brother actually, he went and started working kind of day to day with a family friend that was kind of a general contractor. And so he would work with him kind of day in and day out. And then when I had an install lined up, when I finally would sell a job and the product came in and we were ready to go install it, then he would just come over and install with me. And so I was basically like focused on trying to actually sell projects. He was working day to day for somebody else, and then would come
And then
over.
as soon as you sold it, then it'd be like, okay, hey, installation's on this day. He would then come over and help. So it'd just be the two of you installing windows for an entire house at that time. Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that was, how long was the team that big? And like, talk about, or like, take us back to that moment when you get to the point that it's like, okay, the two of us can't just do this.
Yeah.
Like, we have to have a little bit more infrastructure, a little bit more team. You can't do everything.
Yeah.
Like, take us back to that moment.
So I was still primarily selling,
Okay.
jobs and installs and stuff like that. Any window install that would come in, we would continue to install it. And I would say we did that for probably, I don't know, at least 9 months, close to a year. And then that following year, we started selling siding. So I was introduced to the James Hardy siding rep. And I told him, look, man, I don't know anything about siding. Never installed it. I don't know how to install. All I do is windows. And at that point, they were like, hey, well, you're doing a lot of Anderson windows. It's a little bit more of a premium product. There's really nobody in the area that's focusing on siding remodels and working with homeowners. And this is also a more premium product. So we think, it could align. I was like, well, if you're willing to kind of help me and help me, like, I'll do it. And so we got connected with a supplier. We got connected with install crews. And so at that point, the business model started shifting a little bit more towards, all right, we're going to get out of the day-to-day labor. We're going to partner up with some tradespeople and installation crews, and now we're going to transition.
And then all you were doing is sort of selling the service, finding the client, managing that project, and then you had a crew that would basically just kind of go on site and do all the siding. And sometimes, how often were you doing both siding and windows for the same project? Like, were you able to kind of marry the two together a lot of times?
So that kind of became, honestly, our bread and butter. Obviously, we transitioned more to be like a project management company. Obviously, managing the sales experience and the production experience kind of end to end. But our bread and butter kind of became what we called an exterior remodel, which was we're doing your siding, we're doing your windows, we're doing your doors, and we're kind of doing them all in unison together, kind of reverse engineering a new construction build on the replacement side. A lot of the local companies, you either have a window company or you have a siding company or you have a roofing company, and they each did their own thing. And I think there's definitely benefit to that with certain trades. Obviously, you don't want to try to be like everything to everybody, and while there's general contractors out there that are very, very good at that, for more of the exterior type stuff, it can be difficult sometimes. But one thing that really goes hand in hand well is your siding and your windows. They're right there together on your building envelope. They integrate together, and they're designed to ideally be replaced at the same time. And typically, if you have windows that need to be replaced, your siding is probably the same age. And there's a lot of companies that were doing them separately. And so what I found on the Windows side was I'd go out and I'd replace, windows for a homeowner, and they had their siding done, say, a year ago, and now we're having to redo a lot of the work, or we can't quite do as good of a installation because the way that they did the siding, and so there was just all these issues to where the application on the install side was less than ideal. And when you're investing in siding or windows, it's not an inexpensive project, so ideally you want to do them the best way that you can. And so our bread and butter project kind of was this exterior remodel. We would come in, we'd remove all the windows, we'd remove the siding, we'd do a new construction install on the windows and flash everything to the actual house and integrate it with the siding and create a nice, really leak-proof product that looked nice. We weren't going to have to redo any work in the future. And we still did it really, really efficiently. We have a phenomenal crew on the siding side that we've been working with since the beginning. And so we're able to do resides in anywhere from 3 to 5 days.
Okay.
And if we add windows to the scope, it might add a day. And so within a week, basically, we can completely renovate
Yeah,
an
and like
exterior home.
and pretty much change the entire look of that house. I mean,
100%.
I've seen a lot of y'all's photos of like the before and after, and it's incredible just to see that process. You said that, within a week the whole installation process gets done. Talk about like the process for the clients coming in, like them coming into the showroom, them seeing different products, maybe you going on site and kind of looking at what they actually need. How long is that typical journey from like, hey, that client finds the siding that they want, either and or the windows that they want, to you ordering it, you getting the product, to you installing it? Is that within, 2-3 weeks? Is that within a couple months? Like, talk a little bit about that journey for like the people that are listening that maybe you're kind of in that boat of saying, hey, I need to get windows or I need to get some new siding on the house. Like, what would that journey look like from start to finish?
Yeah, I would say the model for us is changed a little bit over the years. Initially, we were really just doing that Anderson product, and then we opened it up to some other products. So we were trying to take more of like a solution-based
Mm,
approach. So whether, vinyl made more sense to somebody or a composite or even more like a premium wood-clad window, we could essentially kind of meet any need.
mm,
And so we were doing that really up until last year. And then we were able to partner with Infinity by Marvin. So Marvin Windows has been around for over a century, and Infinity is essentially their replacement product.
mm.
And they work exclusively with independent companies. It's not a franchise. There's no corporate, backing. It's 100% like a dealer retail model. And so we're direct with Infinity by Marvin, and it's a fiberglass product. And so going into 2026, we decided, you know what, there's vinyl windows. There's a lot of
Mm.
people out there that are doing vinyl windows, and the model is a little bit different. And we decided to just focus on Infinity by Marvin, the fiberglass window and patio door product. And then we were also doing some vinyl siding every now and then.
Mm.
We decided just to transition away from the vinyl siding, and focus just on James Hardie fiber cement. So now our model is James Hardie fiber cement. We do a lot of the pre-finished products, so you don't have to paint it afterwards.
Okay.
And then we have Infinity by Marvin, which is our window and our patio door product. And so the process now, what it kind of looks like is, since we have a little bit more of a like clear alignment on, okay, what do we
Mm.
offer and who could we be a fit for? Really, our heart is, all right, we're going to try to make this a consultative approach.
Mm.
We now know what we can offer and what products we want to go to market with, and we know what kind of homeowner is probably going to be interested in that, and being okay with the fact that, we may not be a fit for everybody,
Yeah.
but we know what we can do. And if there is alignment there, obviously we'd love to be able to serve a homeowner and partner with them. And we think that our process is tailored with them in mind. Very, no pressure,
Yeah.
flexible time frame. We want to work according to the homeowner's time frame. There's a lot of competitors and companies out there that the whole business model on the window and door and siding and even roofing, it's like
How
all about,
quickly you can get it done.
yeah, it's the, hey, we'll give you a discount if you sign today, and then we'll give you this discount if you sign within the next 30 days, and then we'll give you this discount if you sign in the next, month. It's just like,
Yeah, I've had to get a new roof in the last year. Siding got replaced, HVAC stuff. So like, I think everyone always has that sort of fear when you work with contractors, in some sense of like, okay, like I know I need this, but then there's all these like added benefits, but are they actually benefits?
yeah,
And I think it seems as though y'all have kind of solidified, hey, here's what we do, here's what we do best, and here's who we do it for. And if you don't want us, it's fine.
yeah.
But like, hey, here's this process. So is a lot of the stuff people that are, looking to like remodel their entire houses, those are your ideal clients right now, or how are you kind of finding your ideal client, and what is that kind of, hey, if someone heard this and like, if you were to say this, this is the person I'm looking for, or this is the person that we see now in 2026 as our best fit.
Yeah. Honestly, I would say it's not even like a specific, person. I know obviously like in marketing, it's like, all right, we want to target, 40 plus and married and this and this and that. And so for, while some of those things might be important, really the biggest thing for us is like, when I go out and I meet with a homeowner, is like, all right, tell me about your house. Tell me about your guys' plans here.
Mhm.
Like, is this a house that, you're renovating to sell it next year? Is this a house you're renovating to stay in for the next 10, 15 years? Like,
Mm.
really the important thing for us is the context in terms of what is it that's really going to make sense for you. And so I tell homeowners all the time, if, they say, oh, we think we're going to sell next year, we're just trying to, fix some stuff up. And I was like, honestly,
It's
we're not,
probably not the fit.
we're not gonna be able to help you. You know what I mean? And I think that X company might be a way better fit for you because, the product's going to make more sense. And I tell homeowners, like, if I was going to be selling a house next year, if I'm renovating a house, and it's very short term, I wouldn't put probably our own products in, because they're not going to enjoy the ROI and the benefits of the premium product in a year. It's just, they're still going to have a high ROI just for replacing the product to begin with. And so that's very normal for us to go out and be like, hey, we appreciate you having us out. Based off what you shared with me, we're just really not a fit. And here's why, and being okay with that versus like
just trying to get the sell.
Just trying to go out there and sell them and this and this and that. And so we really try to go out there and educate the homeowner in terms of, hey, let me tell you about our climate and things that you consider relative to these products. Like, we are in North Alabama, where it's 80 degrees one week and then it's 40 degrees the next week, and then it's just we can never decide what season we're in, and that makes a difference with the products on your home. Vinyl products are going to expand and contract at a very high rate, which causes that product to break down with time. Whereas our fiber cement and our fiberglass are very rigid. They're very strong products. So even as temperatures are changing, they don't break down. Aesthetically, they're a lot more beautiful. There's more options, a lot less maintenance long-term. And so all of those benefits really are designed for people that are planning on staying in their house a little bit longer and that care about the added benefits.
Yeah. I mean, because I think there's a huge market for that in Huntsville. Because, I mean, there's plenty of people that I even know personally that have, they love their house. They're like, I don't really want to downsize, but we've lived here for, X amount of years already. But we have the opportunity to either move down to like the first floor master or whatever it might be. And like, let's remodel this house. Let's make it this perfect home so that we don't have to leave for another 10, 20 years. And it has everything that you want. Because, I mean, some of those older homes in Huntsville that people just love to live in and that they've been in for a long time are built so well that it's like, if you're going to invest your time to be here for a long time and you love the neighborhood and you love the people that are around and all the added benefits that you have, it's like, hey, y'all are a perfect fit to make that possible for somebody. Rather than, hey, it's a quick flip, it's a remodel, it's a rental. That's just not the fit, it sounds like, of what y'all are looking to work with clients with going into 2026.
Yeah, typically that's where like the volume models will come into play. There's several high volume companies, and I used to work at one of them. And I tell people, I'm like, look, that there's a place in the market for that model. Obviously, a lot of those companies are very successful, but when you're built by volume, you're going to be the most affordable because you're supplementing with volume. And there are some benefits to that, but then the other reality is like, all right, do you want to be one of 40 jobs in a week, or do you want to be one of 2 or 3, to where you have more of that boutique feel, that custom approach where every project that we do really matters to us, versus really being a number.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to renovate a house and flip it next year, you probably are willing to trade.
I'm okay to be a number.
I'll be a number and I'll save thousands and thousands. I'll do it. It makes sense. And so that's where it really is the context.
Yeah.
Less of an age or a homeowner or this and that. It's more of like, tell me about your home. What is the context? What do you guys see here? And you're absolutely right. There's a lot of people here, especially if you bought pre-2020 or whatever, your interest.
You're like, super low. I'm not leaving.
You're not leaving. Yeah, you're gonna triple your interest rate and get less house for more money. Obviously, because Huntsville, the market of real estate is booming, and a lot of people are coming here. And so I think every year that goes by, we're gonna see that be even more difficult and competitive. And so, if they're a homeowner, they've been in their house or they want to be in their house. And that's really who we're trying to serve. So process is really, we go out, we do a true consultation. A lot of companies say consultation. We are truly going out and consulting and being like, all right, let me tell you what you should be considering, who could be a potential good fit. Maybe we could be a good fit, and kind of just, and I think a lot of too, because I came from like another company in the industry, like I feel like I have a decent understanding of like our competitors and who does what well in the market. And so I just go out there and just advise the homeowner. I really don't, it doesn't bother me. If I'm going to get the sale or not, it really doesn't bother me. And so that's just the way that I think, from the beginning, is the way I wanted to do business, because I kind of saw the other way, which was like, we're going to just push products and sell. And, it's always bothered me that like in construction, it kind of gives you like a used car feel to it, to where it's like, man, this is a construction project like anything.
And no one likes a used car salesman, but like,
no.
You can also remember or think about someone that was good in that role, and you're like, okay, like I like them, or I like you for this, but like in general, it always has that connotation that's just not a good It's just no one's excited to go look for a new car. No one's excited to have to get construction done on their house. But it seems as though your process is like you've seen the bad side, and you're now doing the good side. But you're able to bridge the gap of saying like, hey, I'm not for everybody. Here's someone that maybe is. Hey, I don't need, like, I would love to do this job for you, but I don't if I'm not the right fit, there's no point in me doing this job for you, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we just want to build trust, right?
Yeah.
In the air. I think that's the biggest thing that's been missing in the trades for a long time is just, trust. And, people come to us and they immediately have like just barriers or walls. And, I knock on the door. They're like, hey, how long are you going to be here?
Yeah.
The last guy was here for 4 hours. And I'm like, no, don't worry. We're not going to do it like that. And so,
Yeah.
we'll go out, we'll consult with the homeowner. And then if there's an alignment, if there's a fit, I think the other thing that really, separates us from a lot of competitors is like, we're never going to try to just sell something until we've earned the right to like ask for the business. So number one, we got to make sure we're the right fit. Number two, we want the homeowner to have confidence in the products that we're offering. And so our biggest thing is we're trying to provide decades of peace of mind in a single week's work. And so the only way we can provide those decades of peace of mind is, well, the products, number one, have to align with decades of peace of mind. And so that's where the Hardy and the Infinity comes in, that both of those products, when installed the right way, will last for decades. They have warranties that back that up, and it's really going to be designed for that long-term homeowner. And the second thing is just the experience and the time that's needed to decide confidently is, most homeowners in my experience, there's nothing you can really say or do like to twist someone into spending $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 with you in an hour.
Yeah.
And so I think to even have that assumption is kind of silly. So when we go out there, we're not even trying to sell a job that day. And so back when we were the solution-based model and we were carrying 3 to 5 window products, it was actually impossible for us to be able to go out to a house and show them all the products and quote all the products. Like, we'd be there for a half of a day. And so that's where the showroom came in, is like, all right, we want to have kind of that second meeting, that second step, to where when we go out to the house, be like, look, we're not expecting a decision today. In fact, we probably won't even be able to quote your job today. We do things a little bit differently. And so we had a kind of that second step showroom experience where it's like, all right, you've told me what you're kind of looking for. There's a fit there. There's an alignment. Now, the next step is let's start looking at, the product and make sure you're confident in, colors and the finish and what we can do and come in and operate it and look at it. Or the siding, let's see it installed. Let me send you some addresses, do some drive-bys, see some actual projects that we've done. And so that is, it's a little bit longer of a sales cycle, but these are pretty substantial projects that we're not expecting a decision in an hour or 2 hours.
And it's something that you shouldn't have to make a decision that quickly. Like, I think you're flipping the narrative of what people are used to expecting, where it is that, I think about my experience with like getting our roof replaced last year. It was, I knew I needed to do it, didn't really want to do it this year. Someone came by, they took a look, it worked, insurance paid, like all the things worked, but it was just such a, process. Like it was so quick. It was so, it could be a little bit overwhelming because you're kind of just in the motions. And then for something like that, and the work y'all are doing, it is one of those more of a decision-making process of like, hey, the homeowner's wanting to be there. You've kind of learned what the homeowner's looking for. You've got to know the homeowner. And so you're able to then have that journey and have that process that actually delivers the results they're looking for. And it doesn't have to be just move. With this shift in the business going into 2026, as we're recording this into February, what does your sort of day in the life look like for you personally in the business? Like, what does your day, because like I know, like back to what you were saying earlier, you kind of went into this as, hey, I need to have a little bit more, can't be out all day, can't be doing all these different things. I have a family now.
Yeah.
What does your day look like? Like as we leave today, maybe it looks a little different, but what does the typical day look like for Jordan?
So yeah, it's definitely transition. Obviously, thank God I'm not, out installing. Although I did just install, the house the windows on my own house. Where I told you we were remodeling a house, and so my father-in-law, he helped me with that, and so I was able to kind of get back into the install for a weekend, and it was fun. But day to day now for me is I've still been primarily selling, so going out and meeting with the homeowners, doing the consultations. We have our first sales rep coming in March, and so we're excited to be able to have somebody else that can come in and is very aligned with the way that we are wanting to. Sell, I guess, which is, everything I just explained to you. And so, we're excited about him transitioning. He will be our fourth, employee assigned myself, or we'll be a team of 5 at that point. So right now I'm still selling, meeting with homeowners. I'll be transitioning kind of out of that later this year, as we get him on board and he kind of takes over some of that. I'll probably still be involved, in that for a little bit, larger projects and stuff like that. But really the biggest shift I would say last year, has been like, all right, now I got to figure out how do I build a team and how do I lead and how do I, work through people and find the right people. And so, the challenge has kind of shifted, From obviously we're still challenging and fighting to get work, every month, and we want to always be competitive in that. But now it's like, all right, well, how can we build a team, and how do I train people to do things the way that I want, and so it's been a learning process for me to try to,
Yeah.
because my whole life I've just been able to just work and figure things out myself, and I've always been fairly self-reliant, whether it was sports or post-college trying to figuring out different jobs, and now obviously business. And so it's a whole different animal to like do that with other people, and that's where I think I have a lot of room and opportunity to grow, which is exciting. But that's kind of the focus right now, is how can I become the best leader, how can I attract the best people, how can I set those people up for success, and make sure they're in the right role, and support them the way that is needed, and really kind of transition a little bit more like to the coach and not the athlete, which is challenging because they've never done that before at all. So that's kind of the day-to-day now, is I'll meet with homeowners, I'm leading the team. We got a couple guys in the field managing the projects. We have an office manager behind the scenes kind of coordinating everything and holding everything together. And then the big lift will come this spring, which is, all right, we got to now figure out how can we build a sales team the right way that's going to do it the Freedom way. And so, every contract, every job is not just relying on me going out there. I think it'll be better for obviously my family, but the team as a whole, and we can really start to kind of grow. And obviously you can't grow without sales, and you got to get the deals coming, and so that'll be kind of the next step in the day to day, and figuring things out. So every day is obviously new and exciting.
Yeah, I mean it's an exciting. I mean, I think we had first met a couple years ago, and it was fairly new. You were kind of in the different role in the position, still the same. You still had the same role, but what you were doing on a day-to-day operations were a lot different a couple of years ago. And so it's exciting to see that growth that you've had, the business itself. I mean, it's incredible. I think I've texted you a couple times for things at my own home, being like, hey, like, do you know somebody that does this? Do y'all do this? Like, so like, I think it's incredible to see the growth that you've had in the business itself has been super successful. If someone's listening, we talked a lot about all the things that you do. Someone's listening and they're like, hey, I think maybe I'm a good fit for this. I think I'm in the market for this. I think y'all are a perfect fit. Where can they find out more information? Where can they connect with y'all? I know you have a showroom, maybe changing locations, but they can actually come see products too. Like, where's the best place for someone listening to connect with y'all?
Yeah, I would say the best thing is you could Google Freedom Exteriors, and our Google business profile will come up. You'll be able to read a lot of our previous testimonials. We're really grateful to have a 5-star reputation from our past clients, and there's some homeowners that have taken the time to leave us some really solid reviews on their experience. And so that's the best way to allow our clients to speak for us, is to go on there and see what they have to say about us. I've always said, like, the brand is not what we want it to be, it's what people actually say about us. And so that would be one place. You could go to freedomhuntsville.com. That's our website. Fill out a form there, and then Natalie will call and reach out to you and have a conversation. We're on social media as well. Just Google, search Freedom Exteriors, Instagram, Facebook. We're on there as well.
Awesome.
And we try to get projects on there and kind of show the before and afters like you were talking about. But yeah, those are three main ones. Or we have a showroom on Whitesburg where we'll bring homeowners out, show them the product. And so sometimes they go out to the house, and that's kind of our first meeting. And sometimes they're like, you know what, we just kind of want to come out to you and see your products and have a conversation. And so we also offer that as well. As they come out to the showroom, we'll do an initial conversation there. Because again, it's not about, a meeting in the house or a meeting here. We want to build a relationship where we're fit. And so it tends to be multiple meetings when we're working with a homeowner. So wherever they're comfortable meeting for the first time, we can make it happen.
Awesome. And we'll be sure to have everything in the episode notes, links to y'all's website, addresses, all of that good stuff. So if you're listening and you want to find out more information, you want to connect with Jordan, with his team, and find out more information about getting your windows siding done, there'll be links below. But I appreciate you taking the last 20, 30 minutes talking with me.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Beyond Rockets. Don't forget you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen, and on YouTube at Beyond Rockets. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Beyond Rockets to stay up to date with new episodes as they are released. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.